Oh, my friends, Gary goes. I just need to check something. I didn't think so. Oh, no, we are still working. Hello, my friends, Gary goes, and fellow poets. Welcome back to Conversing with Poet, Burns Night edition. I had to update my OBS and I had to update my Stream Deck. And so they have all sort of gone out of sync and not working. So I apologize if we have some tech difficulties throughout the evening. But hello, everybody. Welcome to Burns Night. It is a tradition here on the channel to do a Burns Night special. It just so happens that Burns Night this year has fallen on a Sunday, so we didn't have to do an extra stream. I'm just going to quickly change that yawn count because I didn't do it, and I'm definitely not on zero. Give myself some credit there. But yes, hello everybody. Let me know that you're here with a little wave. Sorry about that. That's a phone alarm going off. Off to a good start. Let me know that you're here in the chat with a little wave or a thumbs up or a hello, whatever it is. I see that 3 people are watching, so do make yourselves known. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're watching playback, that goes to you as well. Do hit that like button. I'd really, really appreciate it. Tonight, as always, I'm going to read from my complete works. I'll read my 2 favorite poems. I've literally just uploaded some shorts of me reading my all-time Robert Burns favorite poem. That was in the right order. My all-time favorite Robert Burns poem. And then there's another one here that I really like, that I'll read, and then I'll do my best to read Address to a Haggis, which of course is being read hundreds and hundreds of times over all around the world this evening. If you're celebrating Burns Night in style with a wee dram and some neeps, and of course a haggis, before you dive into the haggis, you will have someone recite Address to a Haggis. I can't remember if I had this last year or not, but the one time that Shakespeare will be knocked off his perch, knocked off his perch of books. You can see Shakespeare's skull here, and I've got my sort of collector's mug of Robert Burns. I can't remember if I had this time last year. I can't remember if I've shown this on stream once already, but yeah, my Robert Burns mug. I do have, of course, by the same company, the Shakespeare version, but that's inside on my shelf. But yeah. How has everyone been? Hello, little Danny. Sorry, your clock seems to be slow. That's okay. I'm glad that you made it here. And Pumpkin Lover as well. Well, hello. I am here and on time. Very, very cold here in Iowa. I do have my little heater on, keeping me warm. But yes, we have poets in the house. I am no longer talking to myself. Hello, Danny. Hello, Pumpkin Lover. Welcome to Burns Night stream. Let me know if you're doing anything special to celebrate. This is the first year, the last 2, 3 years, I have actually gone out to a Burns Night, not necessarily on Burns Night, but this is the first year that in 2, 3 years that I haven't actually gone out for Burns Night. So, but we got this stream. We got this stream. And I guess I'll start with reading Ken. Hello, Ken. Wow. Hi, Gary and everyone. I'm alive. Good to see you back, Ken. I'm glad that you are alive and you are here for Burns Night. I am just going to maybe read a little bit about Burns. There is a whole chronology of his life in this book. It's actually a really great book. If you can pick this up, I fully recommend it. The Complete Poems and Songs of Robert Burns, published by Waverley Books. That's not a paid ad. That's not a sponsored. It's just a genuinely good book, and I'm happy to recommend it to you guys. I'm just seeing... I'll read some of the introductions so that if you have joined us and you are not aware of Robert Burns, I will quickly catch you up. So Robert Burns is unique among poets. There is no other literary figure in whose name and on whose birthday each year thousands of people across the world, as we are doing right now, sit down and enjoy a ceremonial meal. The phenomenon of the Burns cult is truly remarkable. But the essential thing about Robert Burns is that he was a great poet. When he died in 1796, in debt, aged 37, worn out by hard work and illness, well loved but far from being a cult figure, he was already a great poet. If, improbably, the Burns suppers ceased to take place, it would make no difference to the stature of the writer whom they celebrate. The truest way to appreciate and honour a poet is to read his work. The passage of time and the stifling of the Scots language by modern English have put some obstacles in the way of our reading of Burns. Yes, as you will hear tonight, as I try to read some Scots, it will be bad, but hopefully you will forgive me. The Liat Haffets of the Cottar's Saturday Night, are not immediately obvious as grey side whiskers. The Hawkie beyond the Hallan does not immediately suggest the white-faced cow beyond the partition wall separating house from byre. But these are isolated examples. In To a Mouse, which is arguably his most famous poem, To a Mouse, the phrase a daman icha and a thrave may not mean much to us on its own, but when we go straight on to read that it is a sma request and I'll get a blessing really live and never missed, then we don't need any glossary, don't we? I do. Glossary to get the sense. Anyone who wants to check can find that it means an occasional ear of corn from a bundle of sheaves, but the context of the poem has already made the meaning sufficiently plain. And this happens all the time with Burns. Put your trust in the poet. Read him. Especially read him aloud, which we will be doing tonight, and you will be greatly rewarded. Burns's poems are full of memorable thoughts and images. Among his lyrics are phrases and verses so universally known that their source is half forgotten. The best laid schemes of mice and men gang aft agly, and I'll stop there. If you've ever read of Mice and Men, that line inspired the title of Mice and Men. Hi, Daryl. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, that's enough of the introduction, I think. Let me read the first poem of the evening, which will be Handsome Nell. Okay. Oh, once I loved a bonny lass. Aye, and I love her still. And whilst that virtue warms my breast, I'll love my handsome Nell. As bonny lasses I ha' seen, and money full as braw, but for the modest graceful mien, the like I never saw. A bonny lass, I will confess, is pleasant to the eye, but without some better qualities, she's no a lass for me. But Nelly's looks are blithe and sweet, and what is best of all, her reputation is complete and fair, without a flaw. She dresses aye sae clean and neat, both decent and genteel, and then there's something in her gait gars ony dress look weel. A gaudy dress and gentle air may slightly touch the heart, but it's innocence and modesty that polishes the dart. 'Tis this in Nelly pleases me, 'tis this enchants my soul, for absolutely in my breast she reigns without control. That is Handsome Nell. Doreen, beautifully read, Adam. Such rhythm. Ah, yes. Well, that's all down to this man right here. This man right here. Mr. Robert Burns. Yes, I read of Mice and Men. Yeah, it's a very famous novel. I studied it in school, actually. I studied it in school. So that's one of my favorites. It's not my all-time favorite, but that is Handsome Nell. by Robert Burns. We also, by the way, stay with me because we also have a Robert Burns quiz that we're going to do together and see how well we fare, as Burns might say, how well we fare with a Robert Burns quiz. So, I wonder how much you guys know about Robert Burns. It will certainly put me to the test. All right, this is my all-time favorite Robert Burns poem. I've loved this since college from the moment I read it. I have just posted a short on the channel and on my Instagram of me reading it, but here's a live version. And it is a red rose, and I love roses. I am a bit of a romantic too, so a good love poem, as maybe you can tell, handsome now. Yeah, so that's why I really love this one. A red rose. Oh, my love's like a red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like a melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well awhile. And I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 mile. I didn't read that too well. I've read that better, but yeah, I love that poem. A Red Rose by Robert Burns. Hi, Ken. Wait, uh, I'm getting confused. Sorry, that might have been like, what is he doing? Ken, if you don't mind, can you remind me of your surname? Just because I think I've just realized who it may be that I am talking to. I do love roses too. This is my favorite Burns. Yeah, it's a great one. I didn't prepare, but I'm brave. Yes. All right, cool. Okay, we will do this. We will get through a Robert Burns quiz. We will put ourselves to the test and hopefully we will get a semi-decent score. I will do my best. But if you haven't already, please do remember to hit that like button. It is completely free. It takes just a few seconds, but it does really, really help me, and I would appreciate it. And this is where things go downhill. Let me try and remember what page this was on. And I will try to read Address to a Haggis, which is very much written in Scots. And very much written in Scots, and I will very much butcher it. But as I say, it's being read a bard's epitaph. It's being read hundreds of times all over the world today. So we got to at least try it. I've just seen a poem called A Poet's Epitaph, which is quite interesting, which maybe I will read. I won't read it because I've now just lost the page. All right, Address to Edinburgh, Address to a Haggis. Are you ready? Are you ready? I don't know if I'm ready. If you're ready, throw some craziness into the chat so that I don't feel like I'm the only crazy one. It's a mighty snowstorm here in Connecticut. I'm here in between shoveling shifts, happy for the warmth of this fine group. Nice. Thank you, Doreen. I am ready. Doreen is ready. I'm just stalling for time to try and amp myself up. All right, here we go. You guys can laugh, it's fine. And I apologize to any Scottish viewers right now for absolutely butchering this. I was here about a year ago and remembered you today from Northern Canada. Nice, great. Yes, I do remember. I do remember vaguely. So it's good that you made your way back to the channel. Yes, I am surely ready, pumpkin. There we go. Now we got some craziness. Thank you for all the emojis, Danny. All right, address to a haggis. If you ever go to a proper Burns night, um, you will have someone recite this, sometimes with a sword, and at the end they cut the haggis with a sword. It's really something to behold. And as the haggis enters the room, it's very ceremonial. It's usually brought into the room by a piper, someone playing the bagpipes. Anyway, address to a haggis, that's enough stalling. Fair fire, honest sonsy face, great chieftain o' the pudding race. Aboon them yet tak your place, painch, tripe, or tham. Will are ye worthy o' a grace, as lang's my arm. The groaning trencher there ye fill, your hurdies like a distant hill. Your pin wad help to mend a mill in time o' need, while thro' your pores the dews distill like amber bead. His knife, see, rustic labour dight, and cut you up wi' ready sleight, trenching your gushing entrails bright like ony ditch. And then, oh, what a glorious sight, warm, reeking, rich! Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, deal tack the hindmost, on they drive, till their will swall kites believe are bent like drums. Then old guideman may like to rive, behankit hums. Is there that hour his French rag out, or olio that wad stall a so, or fricassee wad make her spew with perfect sconner, looks down with sneering scornful view on sick a dinner. Poor devil, see him o'er with his trash, as feckles as withered rash, his spindle shank a geed whiplash, his neve a knit, throw bloody flood or fill to dash, oh how unfit! But mark the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread. Clap in his wally neve a blade, he'll mak it whistle, and legs and arms and hands will sned like taps o' thistle. Ye powers wha mak mankind your care, and dish them out their bill o' fare. Old Scotland wants nae skinking ware that jaups in luggies, but if ye wish her grateful prayer, give her a haggis. All right, that's all the Burns reading I will do. Hopefully I did that relatively okay. Relatively okay. But a Scottish person will absolutely turn around and say this was read completely wrong, and I accept that. I accept that. But that was addressed to a haggis. Haggis is Scotland's savoury national dish. It absolutely is. Traditionally composed of sheep's pluck, heart, liver, lungs, minced with oats, onions, suet, and spices originally cooked inside the stomach. Yup. Yes. I only had haggis for the first time about 3 years ago on a Burns night. And I just did my best not to look up what it was actually made of. It's surprisingly tasty. I have to say, it's surprisingly tasty. But yeah, while you're eating it, try not to think of what it's actually made out of. There you go, randomness. I appreciate it, Danny. I appreciate it. This poem is not even kidding. This stuff is cooked inside the animal's stomach. Perfect poem. Yeah, absolutely. Perfect reading. Oh, I don't know if it's a perfect reading. I think some Scottish people would have something to say about that. But no lungs in haggis now. There is actually also a vegetarian haggis that you can get as well. I'm not sure if it's a vegan option, but there's definitely vegetarian haggis. I remember reading an article not too long ago, maybe this time last year, about the popularity of a vegetarian haggis getting more and more. With that being said, hello, H. Haggle. Hello, Gary Goyles. All welcome to Burns Night. Welcome back to our channel and our stream and our traditional Burns Night, annual Burns Night celebration. Good to have you here. Now, what we are going to do is move on over to a Burns quiz. It's quiz night here at Adam Gary Poetry. Wrong one. Oops, bear with me. There we go. So we've got a Burns Night quiz that I thought it would be fun for us to try. Before we do that, if you haven't hit that like button, please do hit that like button. I really would appreciate it. Burns Night, hip, 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 hip. I hope you brought your neeps and drams. There's something else as well. I can't remember what it is. Something neeps and drams. I'm not entirely sure. I see Danny has put some news articles in the Discord. Don't forget, we do have a Discord, so if you wanted some news articles, they have just been posted into our Discord. Thank you, Danny. Maybe I'll read those out at the end after our little Burns Night quiz. So, who is ready to put our Burns knowledge to the test? I have another Rabbie Burns poem to look at. Check out Address to the Devil. Goodness, Address to the Devil. Let's have a look. Before we do our... I'm assuming it's in here. This is the complete work, so it should be in here. 194. Address to Edinburgh. Address to a haggis. To Miss Logan. I don't have address to a devil. That's strange. Bum, 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 bum. Is it definitely Address to a Devil? Is that definitely the title? Address to a haggis, Address to the Devil. Got ya. 99. I got ya. 99. Address to the Deal. I'm guessing that is Devil. Oh, it's quite a long one. Okay. Scotch drink. That's quite a long one. So we'll do the quiz first. I'll leave it open to that page for you, and then I'll read it at the end for you if that's okay, Herb. Continue the conversing once the stream is over. Thank you, little Danny. The devil. Burns gets right to it. Yeah, right? It's long, of course. No problem, no problem. O Prince, yeah, that's it. O Prince, O Chief of many throned powers that led the embattled Seraphim to war. Seraphim comes up in so many poems. I'm gonna have to write my own, I guess. I just posted an angelicized version on Facebook. Nice. All right, let's put our Burns knowledge to the test. Are we ready? Here we go. Look, there's a red rose there. Uh, is that lavender? All right, here we go. Here we go. Round one, question one. Where in Scotland was Burns born? Interesting. Do we click on the... Okay, so we have to... Danny, would you mind making a note of the answers that we give? Because it looks like it won't... We don't click or anything. It's going to give us the answer at the end, I'm sure. So let's make a note of the answers that we come up with as a group. Where in Scotland was Robert Burns born? Airdrie. We've got Aberdeen, Airdrie, and Alloway. A, B, or C? Doreen says B, Airdrie. And hey, guys, no Googling, okay? I know that I'm covering Burns in the back there. I'll move over a little bit. Let's be honest poets this evening. No Googling answers. Where in Scotland was Robert Burns born? I'm guessing. No problem. In fact, none of those actually scream to me, and I should know this. C. Alloway. Okay. So we've got one B and one C. Danny, what do you think? And Ken, if you're still with us, what do you think? A, B, or C? So far, we got a B and we got a C. C, we got two C's. Pumpkin is with a C. For some reason, I want to say Dumfries, but now I'm wondering if Dumfries is in Wales and I'm thinking of Dylan Thomas. Any takers for Aberdeen? I, I, if I had to choose one of those, as I say, for some reason I thought it was Dumfries. I'm going to go with Aberdeen. I'm going to go with A. Don't have a clue. That's okay, Ken. Sorry, is it Ken or Keenan? I've just realised. I'm drawn to B. All right, so we got three. I believe we got three Bs, two Cs, and an A. So I would say Airdrie. We're going to go with Airdrie, if that's how it's said. B. So, Danny, if you wouldn't mind taking note, we answered B for question one. B we went with. All right, let's move on to the next question then. What was the name of Robert Burns' wife? Mary Campbell, Jean Armour, Morag MacDonald. I love how this is warm-up questions. These are warm-up questions, and I'm not even entirely sure. Ken, great. On it. Thank you, Danny. He might be buried in Dumfries. Potentially, potentially. Dumfries is definitely, yeah. Okay, the name of Robert Burns' wife. If you didn't know, Robert Burns was a bit of a womanizer. I think he had like he had so many children with many different women. But what was the name of his wife? Mary Campbell, Jean Armour, Morag MacDonald. I'm Jean Armour rings a bell. Jean Armour rings a bell, is my guess, yeah? Mine too. I'm gonna go with B as well. So that's two votes for B. Jean Armour rings a bell. Morag MacDonald doesn't ring a bell, but it's definitely very Scottish. Mary Campbell. Yeah, I'm sticking with B. For some reason, Jean Armour rings a bell. Seems familiar. What else? Any other guesses? B. Pumpkin Lover says B as well. Jean Armour, so that's three for B. I'm not sure, but B sounds good. All right, okay. So far, B is running away with it. I hope you guys aren't saying B just because it rings a bell to me. Oh no. C, nice. Okay, Ken is going with C. That would be, yeah, that seems like a very Scottish name. Morag MacDonald. All right. So is that's one, two, three, four for B, one for C. Four for B, one for C. Okay. I have no idea how many questions there are to this, by the way. All right, question three. What is the famous song? What is the name of the famous song that is recited around the world every New Year's Eve? This one is a famous one. I think I even mentioned this one somewhere recently. It's A, Auld Lang Syne, B, Tam O'Shanter, or C, A Fond Kiss. Because I love Morag. Nice. I was drawn to C, but I know nothing about Mr. Burns. A, A, A. Yes, you guys got it. I can tell you that for certain. It is, in fact, A. I actually know this one. No, that's good. Could you also note that we went with B for question two as well, Danny? If you'd be so kind. I know for certain that this one is A. You guys are right. Yeah, absolutely. This is only round one. All right, let's move on then. Question four. In what year? Oh, who was paying attention? I read this at the start of the stream. In what year was Robert Burns born? 1659, 1759, or 1859? Herb says A, 1659. We're all going to know a bit more about Rabbi after today. Absolutely. B. Herb says B, 1659. 1759. Ken says B, 1759. Doreen says B. Daryl says C. Pumpkin Lover says B. All right, so I think it's safe to say we're going with B for this one. We're going with B, 1759. So, Danny, question 4, we went with B. I'm really hoping I'm doing this right and we're not supposed to be clicking. It won't let me click anywhere, so yeah, hopefully we're doing this right. Ooh, we're moving on to round 2. Now the easy questions are out of the way. It's time to see how well you know your Burns poetry. Can you name each of these poems just from the short extracts? This is going to be difficult. This is going to be difficult. Guess I'm wrong. I would say C was a little bit too late. 1800s, I think he was gone by then. I think he had died by the 1800s. Okay, round 2. This is going to be difficult. Hopefully they're all from the poems I've just read. Well, that's nice. Question 1. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. Does that sound familiar? Is it A, red, red rose, B, Highland Mary, or C, Lizzie Lindsay? He did write a lot of poems about various women. As I say, he was a huge womanizer. Red, red rose, A. Yes. Well done, guys. What a nice coinky dink. 100% C. Lizzie Lindsay? I think Danny's just being cheeky. I hope you're just being cheeky. It is indeed a red, red rose. No idea. B. I don't know if you guys are joking or not. But it is, yes, it is a red, red rose. It is my favorite poem that I read just now. Oh, my love's like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. It's the opening quatrain. Well done, guys. So, yep, it is in fact A. Question 2. All right, we're in this one together. I don't recognize this one. Oh, what some power the gifty give us to see ourselves as others see us. To a louse might be a. I don't know if there is a poem called To a Louse. That might be a play on To a Mouse. Maybe. I don't know. To a Mountain Daisy and Wandering Willie. What do we think? I was joking. Okay. No clue. I would. Yeah, I'll see what the group says first, and then I'll tell you what I would hazard a guess at, and it is just a guess. B. Ken says B. I'll let the group come up with a general consensus on this one first. To a louse, to a mountain daisy, and wandering Willie. Does anyone actually know this for certain? B is my best guess. Ken, do you know that for certain, or is that a guess? B is my best guess. Oh, what some power the gifty give us to see ourselves as others see us. But I could see a louse maybe giving him some kind of gift. Maybe. Maybe. I'm doing my best not to check that. I could easily go, is that an actual Burns poem? But that would destroy The fun. I will say A, but I could see Alaus maybe giving him some kind of gift. I will say A. Okay, so far we got two B's and an A. Two B's and an A. Absolutely no way. All I am doing is guessing. Remember, I'm not a poet. That's okay. That's okay. No worries. I was just checking. So, if I was going to make an educated guess, because I don't recognize it myself. If I was going to make an educated guess, I would say A is there to confuse us, because one of his most famous poems is To a Mouse. To a Mountain Daisy, it could be if it's set in like the Highlands and stuff. But my educated guess would be C, Wandering Willie, just because Willie sounds like a Scottish abbreviation, um, and it's alliteration. So that really is the only reason I'm going to guess C, Wandering Willie. I'll just see what Herb and Danny have to say. We've got Doreen, we've got Ken, and we've got Pumpkin Lover. What do we think, guys? What do we think? To a Mountain Daisy? Ooh, excellent logic, Adam. It just sounds like a poem that he would have written, Wandering Willie. But it could also be To a Mountain Daisy. It just sounds a bit too formal in English. Oh, the alliteration. Nice thought, Adam. It just sounds like some Wandering Willie just sounds more Burns than To a Mountain Daisy. But it's just the guess. Doreen's going with C. So is that two B's and two C's now? It comes down to Herb and Danny. What do you think? But really, guys, I'm just guessing on this one. I was thinking C just because it made me giggle because I'm childish. Fair enough. Fair enough. Lol. Louse. All right. So I guess we're going with C for this one. Danny, if you could make a note, we went with C for round two, question two. All right, next one. The best laid schemes o' mice and men gang aft agly. We know this one. We just spoke about this one. It did come up. So I do know this one for a fact, but I'm going to let you guys in the chat figure it out and let me know. Is it A, Tom O'Shanter, B, To a Mouse, or C, Pretty Peg? B, yep, you guys got it. To a Mouse, yep, you guys got it. Absolutely. It is To a Mouse. The best laid schemes of mice and men gang aft agly. B, To a Mouse, indeed. Indeed. C, it is not Pretty Peg, I'm afraid, Daryl. But that's okay. That's okay. Maybe you wasn't here for the start of the stream. It is, in fact, To a Mouse. I can tell you that for certain. I mean B. Yes, you got it. You got it. It's B. All right. Round two, question four. Now, I mean, this is pretty obvious. However, if you've seen my national poets around the world, you'll know that the national poet of Scotland is, in fact, Robert Burns. And my entry poem to Robert Burns was this poem. The extract is For a that and a that, it's coming yet for a that. And I wonder what poem this could be from. Is it A, a dream, B, a winter night, or C, a man's a man for a that? I wonder. C, Ken's going with C. C would be obvious, right? Yes, it is very obvious. But yes, it is C. C. Absolutely. Pumpkin lover, you got it. It is C. And as I say, if you've seen my video on national poets, I read this entire poem. So if you want to go back at some point and listen to that, then you can. So round 2, question 4 is C. A man's a man for a that. All right. Round 3. I actually found that round easier than round 1. Round 3, getting tricky now. 2 points for each correct answer. Ooh. All right. I didn't realize that it was a point scheme. I'm assuming the one before was 1 point for each answer. Now we've got you warmed up and reciting a few of your favorite lines of Burns' poetry. It's time to really start testing that knowledge. Round 3, question 1. What year? Interesting. What year did Robert Burns die? A. 1696, B. 1796, or C. 1769? I thought it was that, not a that. For the. It very well could have been, Ken. It very well could have been. For that. For that. B. All right, looks like B is the general consensus. 1796. B. I guess that's our answer for this one. I don't think the numbers allow for B to be trumped, if you like. So B, let's make a note of that if you can, please. Danny, we're going with B. Round 2, question 1, B. Round 3, question 1B. Round 3, question 2. Which US city has a life-size replica of Burns's cottage? A. Boston, B. Chicago, or C. Atlanta? This is news to me. I had no idea that this was a thing. I know that you can go to Burns's real cottage, but I didn't know that there was a life-size replica. Boston, Chicago, or Atlanta? Ken says A. Boston. This is interesting. My educated guess, my shot in the dark for this would be Boston because it's on the East Coast, and I know a lot of like East Coast, Boston, Princeton, a lot of East Coast towns have lots of old style British buildings. So that would be my educated guess, but I really don't know. You'd think I'd know this. I go with A. So Pumpkin Lover's going with A. Ken's going with A. That's 2 for A. 1 for C. Herd's going for C. Chicago is my guess. B. So we've got 1 C, 1 B, and 3 A's. So I think A takes this one. A has 3. Boston University Town. So it sounds like Ken may know this. Boston University Town. A would be my educated guess, just because I know there's a lot of old style buildings on the East Coast. All right, so let's make a note of A. Round 3, question 2, we went with A, Boston. Round 3, question 3. Robert Burns became the first person in the world to appear on the front of which famous drinks brand? I mean, there's one that screams at me, but it might be a trick one. Is it A, Pepsi, B, Coca-Cola, or C, Iron Brew? Now, C, Iron Brew, is in fact a Scottish drink, so that would make sense. But Is that in there to throw us off the scent? What do you think? I know nothing. I'm just having fun. Fair enough. Fair enough. Iron Brew is Scottish, but is that there to throw us off? I don't know. Has Pepsi or Coca-Cola ever had a face on the can? I'm not sure. Everyone's going with C. I'd have to go with C. Yeah, it'd be the obvious choice. I agree. So we've got three C's right now. C, four C's. All right, we're going with C. Round three, question three, we went with C. Nice, that sounds nice. Round three, question three, we went with C. Round three, question four. Which country is home to the oldest Robert Burns statue in the world? Bonus point if you get the town. Scotland, Australia, or America? I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but this is round three. This is the tricky round. It seems pretty obvious. But I can't imagine. Well, no, I know for a fact that Scotland has a statue of Burns because I visited it. So it has to be Scotland. Although Coca-Cola comes from Atlanta. Probably C, but I think Pepsi had pictures of people on them in white dots, or am I going mad? That does ring a bell. Pumpkin Lover goes with America. Not sure. I know there's a statue in America. There's multiple statues in America. There's one in Central Park in New York, but I know that there's one in Scotland too. I've visited the boat. I've visited them both, the two of them, and I'm pretty certain Scotland is an older country than America. It's Australia that's throwing me off. How old is Australia as a country? I'm sure Australia's got a statue. It has to be Scotland, right, Doreen? It has to be Scotland. It just feels like a trick question. Does anyone else feel like that's a trick question? Which country is home to the oldest Robert Burns? Ah, okay. Hang on. We gotta take the words in. Which country is home to the oldest Robert Burns statue? Not which country is the oldest. Which one has the oldest statue? So America very well could have erected a statue of Burns before Scotland. As crazy as that sounds, as crazy as that sounds, which is the older statue, not the older country? Definitely tricky. There's a big one in New Brunswick, Canada. There are so many Burns statues, it's incredible. I think so. I might be inclined. I don't know. Am I overthinking this now? Have I gone into overthink mode? Which country is home to the oldest Robert Burns statue? Crazy, but it could be true. Did America put a statue up of Burns before Scotland? It seems wild to think about, but otherwise it's just so obvious that it would be Scotland, right? All right, guys, throw your answer in the chat. Doreen is going with C. I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure. I nearly got carried away, but I think we got to read the words. Which country is home to the oldest statue? Not which is the oldest country. I almost want to say B, Australia now. Because you would think, how could it not be Scotland? But let's go with B for the heck of it. Okay, so we've got one vote for C, one vote for B. This one's in the balance. This one's in the balance, folks. I'm going to look like a genius if it's B. So we've got 2 votes for B. We've got 2 votes for B and 1 for C. What do we think, Pumpkin Lover, Daryl, Danny? We need your votes. This one is in the balance, everyone. Let's go, Darwin. I've B OTEF. I vote B. I voted B. Got you. All right, so it looks like we're going with B. All right. We got 3 Bs and a C. I haven't even voted yet. I'm gonna be difficult and go with A. No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna go with C. So 3 Bs, 2 Cs, and an A. So B has it this time. So for round 3, question 4, we went with B. Any more towns? Oh yeah, bonus point if you got the town. I have no idea. I have no idea on towns. We got Darwin as a town, and then we had a town in Canada, but that's not on the list. So all right, we have voted Australia. Round 4, 2 points each. Burns anagrams. Burns wrote most of his poetry in the Scots language, which can be tricky to understand at times. Just like these head-scratching anagrams. Can you figure them all out? Oh my goodness. I don't know about you guys, but I'm terrible with anagrams, so I'm in your hands now. Edgiest giant pheasants. What? Edgiest giant pheasants? This could take a while. Are you guys good with anagrams? America equal Canada, Mexico, United States. Yes. Herb, you could be onto something there. You could be onto something there. I didn't even think about that. Canada, yeah. Aberdeen. All right. Edgiest giant pheasants. Do you I I'll be honest with you guys, I'm out. My brain doesn't do anagrams very well, so I'll do my best. Something something the. I can only imagine that would be the, or it could be and. So something with a comma. We do have a comma down here. This is inspiring a quirky poem in me. An ode to an edgy giant pheasant. Nice. Digest. Ah, digest. It, yeah, it could be digest, right? D-I digest. Four, it could be four. I really am terrible at these. I don't know how much help I'm going to be. My brain just shuts down. And I'm not sure. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to go back. It's going to be tricky. Just like these head scratching anagrams. Okay, it doesn't tell us whether they're lines from poems uh or what. Could the third word be for? Yeah, I think so. I'm too stupid for this one. Me too. Me too. Digest, digest, comma. Could that work? It could be for, it could be the, it could be and. It's a tough one, guys. By the way, just another gentle reminder, if you haven't hit that like button yet, we got 10 people watching and only 6 likes, so please, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. Whilst I show myself up and just cannot get anagrams. The first word could be digest. Yeah, it could also be in Scots. Yeah. Is this supposed to be a line from one of his poems? This is it. There's no letter F. Uh, yes, you're right. Yeah, thank you. Um, yeah, we're not sure, Pumpkin Lover. That's the hard part. We're not even sure whether we're trying to get a line from a poem, a title. Um, I'm going to assume that it's a line from a poem. Thank you so much to whoever hit that like button. I really appreciate it. I hit the like and you can too. Thank you so much, Doreen. I'm stumped. I really am. If you guys want to move on, let me know. Would that be that would make me a defeatist, I know. Could knights Night for which word? I vote we move on. Fair enough, Doreen. Any other votes to move on? I know that's defeatist. Feel free to take a screenshot if you want to do this in your own time, but I really am so bad at these. Could knights be a word? The Knights, Nights. It can't be that one. Night, maybe. Nights. Knights. Could be that. Move on. Alright, I'm gonna move on, guys, just because this is difficult. Analyzed lung. I'm gonna skip this whole round just because I thought that said knickers large. Alright, round 5. True or false? 1 point each. Let the record show we gave up with the anagrams. Round 5, true or false? We're finishing things off. All right, last round with a nice simple round of true or false. So, do you know these facts about Burns are right or wrong? Question 1. Robert Burns was born with the name Robert Burness. True or false? I actually know this one. I think I know this one. I feel like I know this one. I don't want to say I actually know this one and then I get it wrong. Well, I'm fairly confident I know this one. True or false? Robert Burns was born with the name Robert Burness. Ken goes with true. Herb goes with true. Doreen goes with true. Daryl goes with false. I'm just waiting to see what Pumpkin Lover and Danny go with. Robert Burns was born with the name Robert Burness. True, we got another true. False, pretty sure it is a trick question. Interesting. All right. So we got lots of truths. We got 3, 4 truths and 2 false. I'm fairly sure this is true. I think this is true. I know that he did have a different name to Burns. Whether it was spelt exactly like this sounds kind of Scottish. I know it was spelt different. He did have a different surname. Whether it was this one, I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Question 2. So round 5, question 1, we went with true. Round 5, question 2. Robert Burns never actually called himself Rabbi. True or false? Robert Burns never actually called himself Rabbi. Ooh, technicality might be exactly her. Yes, exactly, a technicality. Sorry, Herb, I forgot. I didn't get an answer from you. Oh, yes, I did. You said true. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, it could be a technicality. True. Danny's going with true. Robert Burns never actually called himself Rabbi. Doreen's going with true. Right, I agree. Ken's going with true. Did Robert Burns call himself Rabbi? Herb's going with true. Just guessing. False. Pumpkin's going with true. Daryl's going with true. I'm going to go with true as well. I feel like nobody called him. I feel like only other people called him Rabbi. I'm not sure. Something in the back of my mind wants me to believe that he actually didn't like being called Rabbi. Could be completely wrong there and making that up. So, round 5, question 2, we're going with true. Round 5, question 3. Robert Burns had 14 kids. True or false? Rabbi Burns had 14 kids. Could be true. He had a lot of kids. Ken says false. Could be, at least. At least. He did have a lot of kids with many different women. Way more than 14. True. True. False. Oh, okay. This one's quite close. All right. So how many do we have for true? We have Pumpkin says true. I'm not sure Herb has made up his mind just yet. Ken says false. Daryl says true. Herb says true. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to. Um, it seems like it's in Arabic or Sanskrit or something. I'm not sure. Please let me know how I pronounce your name so I can make sure that I'm saying it on stream. But there's another false vote. Doreen says true. He was a womanizer, so true. Danny says true. Pumpkin says true. No wonder he liked to drink. All right. Absolutely positively false. Ken says absolutely positively false. All right. Oh, oh no, my buttons aren't working. Hang on. Yeah, I had to update everything. So nice. You're a legend. Thank you so much, Herb, for the $5 super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, my Stream Deck, I need to recalibrate my Stream Deck annoyingly. Okay. So I feel like this is true. 14 does look familiar, and I know that he had a ridiculous amount of kids. So I think it's true. So I have to tally that up again. I think it's true that he had 14 kids. That number just does look familiar, and I know he had way too many. I paid attention at Poetry Hub. Okay, so let me just count this again in terms of true. We have Pumpkin Lover, Daryl, Herb, Doreen, Danny. So that's 5, and we have 1 false, 2 false. So 2 false. So for this one, no one could keep track, right? Yeah, these are just the ones we know about. So we're going to go with true on this one. Round 5, question 3, we went with true. Round 5, question 4. The first ever Burns supper was hosted by his closest friends on the 10th anniversary of his birth. This also rings a bell. The first ever Burns supper was hosted by his closest friends on the 10th anniversary of his birth. I think I know this one. Ken says true. Herb says false. Daryl says false. Sounds plausible. True. So we got 2 for 2. 3 on true. 3 for 3. Oh, this is a close one. 3 for 3. 4 for false, 3 for true. For the rest. All right. We're at a, guys, we're at a stalemate because I think it's true. So I remember it was a few years after. 10 sounds about right. I think we're at a stalemate on this one because I think it's true. So we've got how many true? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for true. We've got 5 for true. And then for false, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 for true, 4 for false after his death. Ah, this is true. Hang on the 10th anniversary of his birth. That would have made Robert Burns 10 years old. I don't know. Well spotted, Herb. I almost fell for it. It says on the 10th anniversary of his birth, which would have made Robert Burns 10. I don't think people knew of Robert Burns when he was 10 years old. Therefore, I'm changing my answer over to false. The first ever Burns supper was hosted by his closest friends on the 10th anniversary of his birth. I think you might have just saved us there. Herb. Well done. It's all in the wording, guys. It's all in the wording. Oh, so his birthday. Yeah, he would have been 10 years old. The first Burns supper was hosted by his closest friends when Burns was 10 years old. That does not sound correct to me, so I am changing my answer to false. Yep, trick question. Yep. Oh, snap. Yeah. Herb just saved us there. Thank you, sir, Herb. Yes, I think it's safe to say that one is false. Well done, Herb. All right, answer time. So, Danny hopefully has been keeping note of our answers, and we are going to see how well we did. Oh gosh, can you guys see that? That's intense. So I'm gonna read it out. So first of all, round one, question one. What did we answer, Danny, please? What did we put? Where in Scotland was Robert Burns born? Was it A, Aberdeen, B, Airdrie, or C, Alloway? That's okay, I'll read it out. The correct answer is, in fact, C, Alloway. B, Airdrie. So we got that one wrong, unfortunately. It was, in fact, C, Alloway. I can't read it. That's okay. As I say, I'll read it out. So we said Airdrie. It was, in fact, Alloway, C, where in Scotland was Robert Burns born. All right, round one, question two. What was the name of Robert Burns's wife? Was it A, Mary Campbell, B, Jean Armour, or C, Morag MacDonald? I think from memory we got this right. I think we went with B, Jean Armour. Because that name did ring a bell. Jean Armour. Yes, we got it right. Well done, everybody. We got that one right. So we've got a point there. Round one, question three. What is the name of the famous song that is recited around the world every New Year's Eve? This one is very famous. I think we got this by a landslide. Was it A, Auld Lang Syne, B, Tam O'Shanter, or C, A Fond Kiss? It is, of course, A, Auld Lang Syne. So that's 2 points for us in total. Round one, question four. In what year was Robert Burns born? Was it A, 1659, B, 1759, or C, 1859? The correct answer is B, 1759, and I think we got that one right as well. I think. We did. B. 1 point. I like that. All right. So far, we've got 3 points. We did well. We did well. Good work, everybody. All right. Now we're moving on to round two. Round two, question one. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. What poem was this from? Was it A, A Red, Red Rose, B, Highland Mary, C, Leesy Lindsay? And of course, I had literally just read it at the start of the stream, so we know that it is, in fact, A Red, Red Rose. Total 3 points. And now we have 4. I think we're still on 1 point. I think it was round 3 where it went up to 2 points each, potentially. I'm not quite sure on that, so don't quote me. Round 2, question 2. Oh, add some power the gifty give us to ourselves. Others see us. Ooh, guys. All right, this was an educated guess. Was it A, to allows, B, to a mountain daisy, or C, wandering Willie? Danny went with Wandering Willie because it sounds funny. I thought it sounded like a Burns poem, Wandering William. It was, in fact, A, and I think someone guessed that as well. So I apologize if I convinced you out of that. It was, in fact, A, so we got that wrong, I believe. Unless we did go with A. Yeah, we all went with C because it sounded funny. It was, in fact, A. Okay, no problem. Over to question 3. The best laid schemes of mice and men gang aft agly. Was it A, Tam O'Shanter, B, to a mouse, or C, Pretty Peg? I think we got this one right because we had just come across it in the book. It was, of course, in fact, B, to a mouse. Question 4. For a that, or for are that, and a that, it's coming yet for a that. Was it A dream, B, a winter night, or C, a man's a man for a that? And yeah, of course, that one is C, a man's a man for a that. All right, let's do a quick tally. I'll let Danny catch up really quickly in the chat just to let us know how well we've done there before moving on to round 3. So far, so good. Total so far, 6 points. Nice, nice, nice. Excellent. All right, moving on to round 3. We've had what year was he born? Now, what year did he die? Was it A, 1696, B, 1796, or C, 1769? And I believe we got this one right as well with B, 1796. Thank you so much for hitting that like button. I appreciate that. Ooh, okay. All right. I've just seen we got the next one wrong. Round 3, question 2. Which US city has a life-size replica of Robert Burns's cottage? Is it A, Boston, B, Chicago, or C, Atlanta? It doesn't give us the town, but interestingly, the right answer was C, Atlanta. I don't know much about Atlanta other than it's got a very good film business. The film industry spends a lot of time in Atlanta these days. I don't know. Can anyone tell me why Atlanta has a life-size replica of Robert Burns's cottage? It seems very specific and very niche. We put Boston. Sorry, guys, if I convinced you all to take Boston. That was just my educated guess. But clearly, I'm not educated. Ah, the next one's very interesting. The Coca-Cola. If anyone knows why Atlanta has a replica of Robert Burns' cottage, feel free to let me know in the chat. Round 3, question 3. Robert Burns became the first person in the first person in the world, to appear on the front of which famous drinks brand? A, Pepsi, B, Coca-Cola, C, Iron Brew. I think I've steered you all wrong. C is the obvious choice, being the Scottish fizzy drink, but it is in fact B, Coca-Cola. And I believe Danny was asking that question. Was it not Coca-Cola? So interesting. They have a long-standing Burns Club in Atlanta. I would have thought Boston too. Interesting. I am very intrigued about why Atlanta. Okay. Round 3, question 4. Which country, or this is the one with the town. Have you guys noticed it yet? I knew it was a trick question, and I think we ended up getting it right, actually. Which country is home to the oldest Robert Burns statue in the world? Bonus point if you get the town. I don't think we did get the town. Maybe we did. Was it A, Scotland, B, Australia, Camperdown being the town, or C, America? And another trick question. You could very easily go, well, it's got to be Scotland, right? But it was in fact Australia. Interesting that Australia erected a statue of Burns before Scotland themselves did. So there you go. Okay, I am going to let Danny catch up with a total score. For over a century, that's impressive. The Burns Club of Atlanta, founded in 1896, has met for over a century. That is impressive. I must look up Atlanta. I'm trying to figure out where it is on the map. Just got a notification that my laptop is dying. Total so far 10 points. Excellent. All right, we're at the anagram section, which I think we're all intrigued to find out. So, let's scroll up. The anagram section, which we didn't do. Edgiest giant pheasants was an anagram for haggis, neeps, and tatties. Dang it. Haggis, neeps, and tatties. Analysed lung, which we never stopped on the rest, would have been Old Lang Syne. I feel like we could have got that one. Never mind. Alternated highish hymns, My Heart's in the Highlands, and Kickers, not Knickers. Kickers Large is Selkirk Grace. I never would have got that one. I feel like we could have at least got Old Lang Syne, but never mind. Let's move on to round 5, the last one. So I feel like round 3 was a double points one. No? Maybe not. Round 5, I think, was back down to 1 point. All right, Robert Burns, round 5, question 1. Robert Burns was born with the name Robert Burness. Was true. It is true. He shortened his name to Burns when he was 27. I thought that was the case. I knew that he changed his name. I just didn't know whether this was a trick question and it was on a technicality, but it is, in fact, true. We could have gotten Old Lang Syne. I feel like we definitely could have if we spent time on it. AI says the cottage in Atlanta is the only known exact replica of the original Alloway, Scotland cottage. That's commitment. Yes, but I do believe, be careful with AI, I do believe the exact cottage still stands in Alloway. It's now a museum. All right, 2 points for that one. Well done. Moving on. Round 5, question 2. Robert Burns never actually called himself Rabbi. Is in fact true. He signed his name Rob, Rab, or Robin. Even Spunley. What? Even Spunley, wherever that comes from, but never once Rabbi. Okay, I actually thought that he didn't like Rabbi, but he did sign his name Rab. But it is in fact true, which I believe we got correct. So well done. Yep, so far so good. Round 5, question 3. Robert Burns had 14 kids. Was in fact false. I'm sorry, guys, I led you down the path. I know that Ken was saying in the chat categorically false. He said catastrophically. I mean, depending on how seriously you're taking this quiz, maybe it is catastrophically false. Categorically false. So I apologize, Ken, that you was not listened to. We didn't listen to you. It is false, or at least we think it is. He is known to have fathered 12 children. I knew it was something ridiculous, but it was actually 2 less that we know of. It was, in fact, 12 children he had. So I apologize if I led you astray. Round 5, question 4. The first yawn of the stream. The first ever Burns supper was hosted by his closest friends on his 10th anniversary of his birth. Was, of course, thanks, Herb, you saved us on this one. It is, of course, false. The Friends' tribute to Burns was on the 5th anniversary of his death in July 1801. They then decided to host another event on January 25th on what would have been his birthday. Yes, January 25th, which is today, is Burns Night, and it is on his birthday, but the first one was held on the 5th anniversary of his death in July 1801. So we weren't supposed to do this as a group. We were supposed to do it individually, but that's okay, because the tiebreaker is get your players to draw a picture of Robert Burns, and the quizmaster gets to pick who has created the picture most like the man himself. That sounds like fun. If you want to do that, if you want to draw a picture of Robert Burns, if you're on Instagram, this could be good. This could be fun. Draw a picture of Robert Burns, post it to your stories or to your feed, and tag me, and I'll share it to my stories if you want to take part in that. Oh, Stream Deck isn't working. So I gotta do it manually. 1 second.
Wow.
All right, so I will let Danny quickly tally up the total points. We got 16 out of 24. I think that's pretty good. Mine's round 4. Yeah, of course. I think that's pretty good. Well done, guys. 16 out of 24. I will accept that. Okay, so I will finish the stream with a poem by Burns that, of course, we was going to read, that I said I'd read for Herb, which I think we may have even read on Halloween, or I was going to read it on Halloween. Address to the Devil. O Prince, O Chief of many throned powers, that led the embattled seraphim to war. Milton. O thou, what a title suit thee, O horny Satan, Nick, or Clutie, what in your cavern grim and sooty closed under hatches, sparges about the brunstein cootie to scold poor wretches. Hear me, old hanging for a wee, and let poor damned bodies be. I'm sure small pleasure it can give even to a deal devil, to scalp and scald poor dogs like me and hear us squeal. Great is thy power and great thy fame, far kemmed and not noted is thy name, and though yon lowen watches thy hame, thou travels far, and faith thou's neither lag nor lame, nor blate nor scour, while ranging like a roaring lion for prey, a holes and corners trying, whiles on the strong wind tempest flying, tull in the kirks, whiles in the human bosom prying unseen thou lurks. I've heard my reverend Growney say, in lanely glens ye like to stray, or where old ruined castles grey nod to the moon, ye fright the nightly wanderer's way. We eldritch croon. When twilight did my Grawny summon to say her prayers, Dow's honest woman, afyont the dyke she's heard you bummin', we eerie drone, or rustling thro' the boar trees comin', we heavy groan. A dreary windy winter night, the stars shot down with sklentin' light, we you missile I gate affright ayont the lough, ye like a rash bus stood in sight, we waving sour. Saw. The cudgel in my knee did shake, each bristled hair stood like a stake, when with an eldritch store quake, amang the springs away ye squatted like a drake on whistling winds. Let warlocks grim and withered hags tell how with you on ragweed nags they skim the mires and dizzy crags with wicked speed, and in the kirkyards renew their leagues, or how kept dead. Thence country wives with toil and pain may plunge and plunge the kern in vain, for oh the yellow treasure ta'en, by which in skill and daught it twall pint hawkies gain, as yells the brill. Thence mystic knots mak great abuse on young guidemen fond, keen, and encrouse, when the best wark loom in the house by cantrip wit is instant made no worth a louse, just at the bit. When thous dissolve the snowy horde and float the jingling icy board, then water kelpies haunt the ford by your direction, and nighted travellers are allured to their destruction. And aft your moss traversing spunkies decoy the wight that late and drunk is. The bleezing, cursed, mischievous monkeys delude his eyes, till in some miry slough he sunk is, ne'er more to rise. When masons, mystic word and grip, in storms and tempest raise you up, some cock or cat your rage maun stop or strange to tell. The youngest Bertha ye wad whip aft straught to hell. Lang syne in Eden's bonny yard, when youthful lovers first were paired, and all the soul of love they shared, the raptured hour sweet on the fragrant flowy swerd in shouty bower. Then you, ye old snick drawing dog, ye cam to paradise incog, and played on man and cursed brogue, black be your fire, and gied the infant world a shog maist ruin da. D'ye mind that day when in a biz we reeked but duds and rested giz? Ye did present your smouty fizz mang better folk, and sklented on the man of us your spiteful joke. And how ye gat him in your thrall, and brak him out of house and hall, while scabs and botches did him gall with bitter claw, and laws his ill-tongued wicked score was worst of a. There's a footnote here. There's a footnote there. Don't know why that's there. It said something about the original text. But are your doings to rehearse your wily snares and fenching fierce? Sin that day, Michael, did you pierce down to this time? What ding a lallan townge or earth in prose or rhyme? And now, old Cloots, I ken you're thinking, a certain bardy's ranting, drinking. Some luckless hour will send him linking to your black pit. But faith, he'll turn a corner jinking and cheat you yet. But fare ye well, old Nicky Ben, O wad ye tak a thoughter and men. Ye aiblins might, I dinna ken, still have a stake, and way to think upo yon den, even for your sake. All right, quite a lengthy one. I always butcher some burns every year, so there you go. That is tradition to butcher some burns. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Herb, thank you so much for your super chat. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed your Burns Night stream with me. If you're somewhere in the world where your Burns Night is going to continue and you are celebrating, and maybe you're going to a Burns Night supper, I hope you enjoy it. They are really, really great. If you're not and you've got time, do look for tickets because they are well worth it if done properly. Addressed to a haggis done properly, with a haggis and a sword and some bagpipes, and of course a wee dram, which is just a bit of whiskey. If you've got the chance to do so, I fully recommend it. Otherwise, thank you so much. If this is your Burns Night celebration, I appreciate you spending it here with me. If you haven't already, please do hit that like button. And until next time, happy writing, take care, and all the best. The button doesn't work, so I'm going to have to do this manually.
Wow.